It was a wild start to week 11 in the Canadian Football League, and some of that wildness didn't need to happen. And it has just reminded me of something that I find incredibly frustrating about the CFL and some of the minds that run it. So, let's break this down a little bit deeper and go into some of the things that frustrate me so about the CFL. The CFL week kicked off in dramatic fashion with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers giving up a game-tying 117-yard missed field goal return for a touchdown, and then an interception, and then they get the ball back and win the game on a last-second field goal, all in the span of a couple of minutes. It was very CFL-y, and don't get me wrong, a lot of people will use very CFL-y as a negative term. Entertaining as hell, right? Like, it was fun, it was wild, it was crazy, it was a lot of the things that you love about the CFL. But a lot of it didn't need to happen. And this is where I have a bit of a frustration with things in the Canadian Football League. And the start of all of it is what I think is one of the most asinine things that is in professional sports right now. There is, for those who don't know, a cap on coaches in the league, like a salary cap. There is but so much you can spend on your coaches in the Canadian Football League. And so that has led to a few coaches keeping their jobs longer, which is, I mean, good for them and all of that. But I think the one thing that it has really done is it has limited the scope of people who want to come into this league and develop as a coach, learn the Canadian game, and try to master things from there. And so what that has done, in my opinion, it has basically created this coaching echo chamber in the CFL. And I don't think that has been overly beneficial. And now I understand, like, this is a little uniquely Canadian football because it is a bit of a different game. It is a bit of a different sport from U.S. football, NFL, four downs, all of that. And like what I am bringing up wouldn't really make sense in the NHL or in the NBA or in baseball, but I think there's a version of it that does. So just kind of follow with me here. I think one of the problems that we have in the CFL is that there has been an agreed upon way of doing things for a really long time when it comes to play calling, when it comes to decision making. And so much of it centers around, well, it's a CFL, anything can happen in the last 3 minutes. So yeah, look, we're down by 6, we're at the 52-yard line, but we're still going to punt the ball away because we think we can get it back. And it frustrates me at times when you will have that, and then you will have some of the people in prominent positions who talk about the league saying, oh yeah, this is the smart decision, this is what you do, because this is Canadian football and anything can happen. And then 30 seconds later, it's, well, 1 first down and the game's over. It's like, well, that doesn't seem like the time to have given up the football, right? And so last night, when Winnipeg is off doing all these different things, and then they're like, okay, yeah, let's kick a 63-yard field goal. That came on 3rd and 1. And I don't understand, A, how you would ever not go for it on 3rd and short when you are trying to ice a game away and have an opportunity to ice it. I don't know why you don't go for it 3rd and 1 on every time in the CFL. I've talked about this before on other platforms. My kickers would hate me because I would go for it so often. A, they have to give you a yard just based on how the offensive line and defensive line lines up. Also, the field is huge. I should be able to find room out there for a slant pass or a hitch or a whatever to be able to get me 2 or 3 yards when I absolutely need it. I should have something in the playbook that just gets me 3. And given how much space there is out on the CFL field. And so I get frustrated when there's just these, well, no, this is common, this is what you do. And last night, well, 3rd and 1, but no, this is, you know what, this is the time where you kick it. This is a good time to kick it. Try to put the game away. Make it a 10-point game, and it'll extend it, and that'll be that. But no, you had to kick it in that situation. And then they miss, and it's a 117-yard touchdown. And then Ottawa gets the ball back off of an interception. It's like, well, no, you know what? You got to play for overtime here. You just got to run the clock out. You don't want to risk anything because wild things can happen in the CFL. And, oh, look at that. We had to give the ball back to Winnipeg, and now they've gone for a touchdown, or gone for a field goal, sorry, and the game is over. There are so many times where a decision in the CFL is justified with, well, no, this is how we have always done it. And that is where I get frustrated. That is where I get really annoyed with a lot of things in Canadian football. And I think, again, it stems back from that cap on coaches and the salaries there. Because with that, you are not bringing in new talent, new minds, new approaches to how to look at this game. And we can be very protective because it's our game. It's different from the 4-down football thing. It is different from anything else that is happening in football. And so because of that, it's lovely to celebrate the differences. I love the Canadian game. I'm not saying change it. What I am saying is we get a little elitist with this stuff sometimes. And so when that happens, you're not bringing in new minds. And when that happens, you're not bringing in new ideas. You're not bringing in new ways of attacking things. And so because of that, not every scheme is the same or anything like that, but a lot of the decisions just go unchecked and go unchallenged for forever. And like you look at the NFL and how many different things have come from, let's just look at this a little bit differently, whether it's the tush push. I think you have teams being a little bit more aggressive, passing on early downs, because there was a long time there where conventional wisdom was, no. You run it and see if you can pass for it a little bit later. But then when you take a step back from that, it's okay, well, why would we do that? Because now all of a sudden it's 3rd and 8, and now we're saying, well, the defense can really pin their ears back and come after you. And then it's like, well, why are we giving them that opportunity? Why not on a bit more of a neutral defense do we go out and throw the football a little bit? And that came from outside minds who hadn't been in this echo chamber for a really long time, just watching the same thing, doing the same thing, and thinking it's the right thing because it's been the only thing. And that is where I get frustrated, is that, no, this is the CFL. This is how we do it. Like, we know our game. No one else can come in here and figure our thing out. And I don't know if it's this, like, inferiority complex that we're worried that another Mark Trestman's going to come in, dominate for a couple years, and just say deuces, and then we have to try to figure out a way to validate ourselves again or something like that. But I just wish there were new ideas that were coming into the Canadian Football League and new ways to approach it. If I were a CFL team or the coach of any team, I think, not that you need to fire people every year, but I would try to have 1 or 2 outside voices pop in every single year just to see a different way of looking at things, a different way of addressing team building, a different way of addressing play calling, a different way of addressing decision making. But instead, you have all these different things in one league where everyone kind of has the same decision making chart that they go off of, and no, well, this is the time we go for 2 and this is not the time we go for 2. We haven't had that real kick in the ass strategically in a really long time in this league. And again, I know, like, it would be insane for me to say, well, I mean, the NHL, we haven't hired someone from Sweden in a really long time. Why haven't we done that? But I do think for franchises, having someone new come in every now and then, just take a look at, hey, why are you doing this? Like, how many times at your job are you doing something? And I mean, like, mine's a little weird because I'm alone talking in a spare bedroom right now. But even then, like, I'll be looking at this, and my wife, who isn't necessarily the most hardcore sports fan, or anything along those lines, I don't think she is going to be the one who pops in, or like, sorry, she's not going to be the one that pops in and is like, hey, by the way, I think your take on the passing decisions is awful. You should do this way. It's not going to be that, but it's just like, hey, why don't you kind of tweak the format and do it this way? Because this is how I enjoy things. You get so caught up in your own work and in your own, like, this is how I have always done it. And then someone comes in and looks like, well, what if you just did ba? And all of a sudden it's different. Sometimes it's worse, for sure. Like, not every new idea is a good idea just because it's new. But there have been no new ideas in the CFL for a really long time. And that gets really frustrating. So I just wish that there was an infusion of new ideas. I wish there was an infusion of new talent. And I think with that would come an infusion of new strategies and new exciting ways to take advantage of what should be a very exciting rules-based skill sets, all of that in Canadian football. And I just think last night was a real highlight of why we need a little bit more critical thinking of how we actually address things here in the Canadian Football League. So, and look, like AJ Druid in the chat, 3rd and 1, go for it. That is an automatic for me. I don't care what spot on the field I am on. If my team can get me a yard when I know what the snap count is and I have a yard difference that they give me, I should be able to get that. I honestly like once you get past basically the 40, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, I'm going. I'm going for it. I should be able to get one of my good receivers open for 3 yards on a football field that's the size of some towns. I think that, and I wish a few more would think that as well. So yeah, sorry AJ Druid, that the ads on Twitch got you there. Apologies, but no, it's so frustrating to see no new ideas coming in and just the same old. Well, this is how we've always done it. So no, that's actually. Oh no, field position. Got to win the field position battle. So we got to punt the ball here. Ottawa doing that. I think it was against Saskatchewan. They were on the Saskatchewan side and trailing in the game in the final 3 minutes and punted the ball away. I hate that always. I think relying on we're going to kick the ball away, and if we don't get one stop, the game is over. But it's fine. We're going to kick the ball away. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. And I feel like a few more people coming in and just getting a fresh look at everything would be great instead of some turnover, or instead of a lack of turnover. And like we've had new people in positions like Mark Killam, first-time head coach in Edmonton. Corey Mace, this is his first head coaching job with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Bob Dice, same thing out in Ottawa. So I'm not saying like it's just the same old coaches all the time, but it's the same guys who have been in all of this for so long. And then when there is an opening that is available, and I love that players get these opportunities, but when there is an opening that's available, it just goes to someone who has already filtered through this system. So again, there's no room or no money for new ideas because player X, who just retired 25 minutes ago and has gone through this whole kind of chamber, now also is getting thrown into it with the from a coaching standpoint, and he's not going to bring any new ideas into that with him. So I think there needs to be at least a little bit more originality in the Canadian Football League and some of the decisions that are made there.